Hey there, and welcome back to the final video where we finish the basefoot app. In this video, we're going to be applying the privacy filter and then get our notifications working. First thing I notice is that anytime we display a name in bold, we'll want to make that a link as well. So let's go to our post component and change all the spans to links. And the link will be to that user's profile page. And we'll add our previously made no color class to keep it from turning blue as well. Now for the privacy, it should be fairly simple. If you're on someone's profile and you're not friends with them yet, you shouldn't see any of their friend-only posts. Here's Sarah Base's profile, and she only has one friend-only post, and the logged-in user, Mark Builder, is not her friend, so he shouldn't be seeing it. So on the profile page.server file, we grabbed all the user's posts here, and we can then filter out the post using the JavaScript filter function and only include it if it's public, or if the logged in user's friends list includes this profile's ID. Remember, we added a list of the logged in user's friends to the locals in the hooks file, and now we have access to it anywhere we need it on the server files like that. Now if we check out Sarah Base's profile, that post is gone. While we're on our profile, I realized we also need to show posts on someone's feed if they were tagged in something. If we go back to the homepage newsfeed, Michael tagged Sarah and Mark in a post, but this post doesn't show up on Sarah or Mark's profile, and it should. This would come from our getUserPost function and our post module. In here, we are only getting the posts the user made. We also need to get the ones where they're tagged. So we can just do another SQL query and combine the two lists in the result. Now on Sarah's profile, we see the tagged post, but on the home page feed, that one is getting duplicated now. Let's see where that's happening. It would be coming from the home page server file load function. Here we're logged in as Mark, and Mark is friends with Michael, so the getFriends function is getting that post because they're friends, but also the getUserPost function is also now getting it because Mark is tagged. We can easily fix this by just removing duplicates in the array before sending it back. And this map function will only return objects with a unique ID property. Let's work on notifications now. If we look at our create post component, it submits to the root page.server file with the post action. And in this function, we want to insert a new notification in the database after the post is created. So let's create a new notifications object and see what we need to fill in. The ID and created will be auto-generated, so we can ignore those. And the user ID will be who the notification is for, which would be the person that got tagged, or the person who received the post, if it's not the current person. So if someone is writing on another person's wall and not their own, basically. This means we might actually need to do this multiple times here. We'll need a different notification for each tag and one for the actual post itself. Let's do the post itself first. So we'll only want to notify the postee if it's not the same as the logged in user. So an if statement can do that. Then in that case, the user ID would be the new post's profile ID. The friend ID will be the person that caused the notification. So in this case, it would be the logged in user's ID. The text for a normal post, it might just say something like blank posted on your wall. And the user's name should be in the locals as well. We can also make this text contain HTML so we can bold the name. Finally, at the end, we can fill in the post ID and call our insert function from our notifications module. Now we need to do the same for tagging. We can do all this again in the loop above where we actually save the tagged people. Instead of referencing new post user ID though, it would be the actual ID of the tagged person, which in this loop is just ID. And now we can change the wording as well to say they tagged you. Now when you have a notification, it should show the count up in the bell icon on top of each page. That bell icon is coming from our navbar component. In here we want to use an npm package called SvelteKit-SSE, and here it is and how to download it. This will allow the user to get a constant stream of the notification counts, so that when there is a new one, it'll increase the count without the page reloading and without the user having to do anything. So let's install that. Then in the JavaScript, I'll make a new variable to hold the count. It'll be the result of reading the source of this stream and this is from the documentation of that package, of course. And the stream will come from a notifications API endpoint. Let's make that notifications folder now in our API folder, and a plus server.ts file in there. This will be a post endpoint, just like in the module instructions, but we'll need to access the locals for the logged in user here as well. If you look at the instructions, we need a delay function on top, and our post function, we return a produce function. In this, we want to get the notification count for a given user. And I don't think we have a function for that in our notifications module yet, so let's make one. We'll just return a number from the database, because just returning the number will be much faster than the full notification list from the database, because this query is going to be called every few seconds for every user on our site, so we want it to be very fast and lightweight. Now we call our notifications module and get the count for the user function we made, and send it back in the emit function as a string, as that's what's required. Back in our navbar, we can just now output the count floating above the bell icon in a red circle using positioning and putting them both in a parent button element. And the variable is referenced with $sign because it's a store at this point, according to the SSE documentation. And we probably only want to show it if it's greater than 0, so we can wrap that in an if statement. So let's try it out. I'll open an incognito window and log Michael in, and I'll post to Mark's wall while having Mark's log in up side by side so we can see a change. And there it is, the count shows up, and it also increases without any intervention or action by Mark. Now the next thing we need to do is have a drop-down show up when you click on that, and then allows you to click on the notification to view the related post. I think I'll do something similar to the search drop-down. Remember, when you start typing, you see the results, and it takes up the entire page. So let's make a boolean for whether or not the notifications area is open or not. When you click on the bell, it'll flip that so that you can use it to close it as well. Now down below, we'll show some HTML similar to the search results if that variable is true. And we'll set the z-index a little higher than the search. But now that we have another menu overlay, we probably need to go above and hide it if someone happens to start searching, or if they open up the profile menu. And while I'm here, we probably need to hide the search as well if someone is searching and clicks on the profile menu. We haven't done that previously. Now when someone clicks on the bell icon, we also want to show a loader. And then while that's loading, fetch the list of notifications from another API endpoint. So we'll call a new function called getNotifications. Above this function, we need a state variable to hold the notifications. And in the function, a fetch to an API if the list is shown. The result of this will just set that notifications variable. And at the end, we also need to hide our loader if the box happens to be being closed. Now we're using the same API endpoint as our count stream, but we'll add a get endpoint in there instead of a post one. So in there, we'll add the get function and simply get and return our notifications from our existing get for user function. Now if we try it, we do see a loader and the blank pop out. And if we click the bell icon again, it closes. Now let's loop through our notifications and show them, or show a message if there is none. We could simply output the text and the date. But notice the HTML isn't rendered. To do that, you just type @HTML in front of the variable. And we can wrap the entire text in a no color link that will take them to the user's profile page. Plus, at the end, an anchor reference to the post ID. This will be designed so that it'll auto scroll to that post in case it's way down on their page. And to do that, we just need to give every post in the post list an ID that matches that. So if we go into our post component we can easily add that to the main div of that thing. And for it to actually scroll to that post in SvelteKit, we need to manually set that up, and we'll do that in an onMount function. In SvelteKit, the page really isn't loaded in the traditional way, so anchor links like this won't work like you expect. But now if we try it again from the home page, open the notifications, click on it, it appears like we scrolled down, but the problem now is that the notifications panel stayed open. So let's add an on-click to our link. That will close it as well. Let's try it again. Now the final thing we need to do is clear a notification when they click on it. In the on-click we just added, we can also call a function that calls an API to clear it. This function will take in the ID to clear. We'll show a loader, and we'll fetch a notification API with the slug on the end, which will be the post ID or the notification ID. We'll set this method of the fetch to delete, and it'll return back the new list so that we can reset our notifications array. And then at the end, we'll hide the loader. Now we need to make that slug folder in our notifications folder, and then a server file in there. And this will be a delete function this time with access to the params and locals. We'll get the ID from the slug, and we'll await our existing update function. And that just flags it in the database as being seen, if you remember. Then we get our notification list again and return it back. Now let's try that out. And there we go. Looks like it works great. I think that's about it for this project. We got most of the well-known features of Facebook created, and it looks and works nice. I'm sure there's lots of things that need to be tweaked or fixed after lots of testing on this, but hopefully you all get the gist of what we did here and that you can apply it to your projects. And thanks for watching.